to support Tanya, and then some of us are going to be live streaming, and I know Clyde is filming, so Tanya's going to run this thing, and whoever you think wants to speak after.
I'm not the one with the megaphone. Facebook. Excuse me? Stand up. Stand up. On stand up Facebook.
And we'll have some signs showing up, and I'll just kind of pass them out to folks quietly as they show up, just not to interrupt anything. So, Tanya.
So, is it on?
No, not yet. Hold on. Going live.
The mic is on, though.
Are we ready?
You're live.
All right. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's here. I mean, and who has been coming to, I'm sorry, who's been coming, who's been praying, who's been supporting us, encouraging words. People across the street, we got people across the street, we got people everywhere. People power. So we are here today for yet another court hearing, but I'm anticipating this is the one. This is the one where the truth comes out. This is the one where it's established that this was not necessary and that my neighbors did not have to be displaced and moved and their homes didn't need to be demolished. Yeah. And this is the one where we say to the city, stop doing business like this. Stop doing development like this. Stop treating people like this. Stop exercising your authority in predatory ways.
Right.
Because we're sick of it. And we're standing up against it. So I want people to listen to what these engineers have to say, because these engineers are the city's engineers. They raised questions about the necessity. And instead of responding to those questions with more responsible development, they ignored those questions and proceeded to take people's homes, starting in 2013. There were 27 homes on the block, now there are 5. That is outrageous for the city too busy to hate.
Yeah.
So I'm just so glad to be standing with so many people who have been standing with us, praying for us. Call the mayor's office, 404-330-6100, and ask her to drop the cases against the people in Peoplestown. That's 404-330-6100. I'm going to pass the mic to our official chanter. Where'd he go?
Senator Ford.
Everybody knows him. Senator Ford, fighting until hell freezes over and then fighting on the ice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya. How's everybody doing? All right. Yeah, we want make sure when you chant so City Hall can hear you. We know that City Hall has a cold heart, but hopefully their cold heart will soften up. But we want to tell City Hall how we feel. So I want to ask you a question. Are you ready to fight?
Yes.
No, I didn't hear you. And I know City Hall didn't hear you. Are you ready to fight?
Yes.
All right. I think I heard you, but I still am not sure that City Hall heard you. I'm not sure that Keisha Lance Bottoms heard you. I'm not sure that the judge, Schwal, heard you. So we want to ask you one more time. One more time. Are you ready to fight?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Sure. Hi, I was a resident on Atlanta Avenue and had a home that I bought when I moved here to Atlanta to work for a major corporation back in the late 90s. And that was a home that I had planned to have for my family for generations. Found the perfect spot, took me a year to get that home. And finally, once I moved in, enjoyed it, ended up getting married and moved on, but kept it as a property so again I could have it for my family. I was told that I needed to move out of my home after we had some flooding. Years passed and they fixed the issue, what we thought. but then we were still sent letters and informed that we had to move out of our homes. And I tried to push it to the wire and was told if I did not sign the documents that they would take my home and I would get nothing. So I signed. 3 weeks later, around 3 weeks later, I ran into Tanya, and that's when I realized that we didn't have to move out of our homes, and that there were some untruths being told, and they just needed to be uncovered. And so I stand here today with the residents that have stood in there, and we thank you for fighting and for not moving out of your homes and for taking the threats and for taking the break-ins and for taking all the trouble and the crime that has come to try to move you out of your neighborhoods that you've come to enjoy and to build families in. So we're here to get the truth out of the city of Atlanta, and I'm here to support everyone as well as to see if we can receive justice for those of us who have been moved. Thank you.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Thank you, Erica, for sharing that story. So there were people and families and homes on this block that didn't need to be moved, but they were considered dispensable by the powers that be. And to be fair to our current mayor, she inherited this problem. And so she could solve it. And she has maintained that she is not a third term of Kasim Reed. She maintains that she's going to rule in a different way, that she's going to exercise her leadership in a different way, but you can't do the same stuff the former mayor did and distance yourself from his leadership style and the decisions that he makes. So when you act like him, it's the same thing. And they're moving from Peoplestown now to Vine City. That's the next place they plan to use eminent domain. The letters have already gone out to 7 black property owners to build a park called Peace Park in honor of race relations, positive race relations, across the street from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But to do this, to create this 16-acre park, they are taking people's property.
Leave them in peace.
Exactly. They are not leaving them in peace. They are taking their peace and turning it into a park. And that's ridiculous. This can't be a precedent. It certainly can't be a precedent with my name on it. City of Atlanta versus Washington will not be the case that is used to exercise eminent domain all over the city of Atlanta. That's not going to happen. That's why we're standing and fighting. And for my neighbors who had to leave, I understand. The pressure was great. The intimidation and the threats were serious. So people made the decision to leave, but when we win, everybody's going to win, and they're going to have to answer for that, to those who are still there and to those who had to leave. So now I want to introduce my neighbors. They used to not be my next door neighbors, but when they knocked down the 10 houses that were between us, we became next door neighbors on the block. I'm the first house, they're the last house, the Alpha and the Omega. What do you want?
Justice!
I said, what do you want?
Justice!
And that's what we're here today for, justice. Because I was thinking last night about truth. And when you go in the courtroom, you're innocent until proven guilty. And what is presented should be the truth. And today, that's what we're going to present. The truth to the city of Atlanta. Simply because they have been doing wrong for decades. And I hate to say it, for decades. Decades mean 20 years, 20 years, 20 years, 20 years. And that's been long enough. And we have given them time after time to do the right thing. And they have refused to do the right thing. So now, it leaves us, these two homeowners, stood when all the others said they didn't want to fight. Well, we decide we are going to fight. And that's what we're here today, to stand our grounds and fight for what's right. There's no reason for us to leave our home when she's telling other people in other areas don't sell out. So we're not going to sell out. So today, justice will prevail. I said today, justice will prevail. So what do we want? Justice! All right, all right. Special request. And since justice will not prevail, we shall not be moved. That's right. So today, help us sing. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not, oh, we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved, 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 we shall not be moved, we shall not be moved, 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 'cause we gon' stand, shall not be moved, 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 we shall not be moved, shall not be, we shall not be moved, shall not be, we shall not be moved, shall not be, 'cause we gonna stand, shall not be, 'cause we gonna stand, shall not be, come on, say it again, shall not be moved, say it again, shall not be, shall not be moved, shall not be, we shall not be moved, we don't have victory, we have victory, we shall not be moved, shall not be moved, shall not be moved, we gonna take a stand, we are gonna stand, that's that type of justice, we shall not be moved, shall not be moved, oh, we shall not be moved, oh yes, we shall not be moved, oh yeah, yeah, we shall not be moved.
All right. No justice.
No justice,
No justice.
no peace,
No justice.
no peace,
No justice.
no peace,
No justice.
no peace,
No justice.
no peace.
All right.
I want to introduce Mr. Darden, and today is his birthday. That's right, I'm telling. And this wonderful man should not be spending his birthday in court. He should not be, and yet he is forced to. So I just want to give the mic to Mr. Darden for him to say a few words, and then we're going inside and win this case.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord again. You know, I'm standing here today on my birthday. And I don't mind doing that because I would like to just thank everybody for supporting us in this endeavor, because it's not easy, but it's doable. And we're going to do it. We're going to fight. We're going to fight, and we're going to fight, and we're going to win. I would like to say my mind goes back. I'll be 68, and I am. Not 68. But you know, my mind goes back when I was a young man. And I would like to leave this with taken from Dr. King. It says, truth crushed to the earth will rise again.
All right, before we go up, right before we go up, we're going to do a group picture. But let me say a couple things real quickly. One of the things that people tell freedom fighters is that they ought to be polite. That we ought to be civil. And it's just a way for folk, when they say that, to do what? Undermine our movement. We need them. They tell us we need to give solutions. We tell them they need to offer their own solution. We know what's right and what's just. So that's why we say what? No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
One more time. No justice.
No peace.
All right, we're going to get together for our...
Get everybody on the other side of this sign.
Okay.
That would be great. And then we...
I'm sitting here today with Miss Washington. And Miss Washington, why are we here? And can you give me an overview of what's going on in Peoplestown?
Yes, we are here today because we had a court case. The judge was considering whether there was sufficient engineering evidence to support the taking of homes in Peoplestown. There were 27 homes on a block. There was some flooding at the bottom of the block, and originally the plan was to take maybe 4 houses to create a pond to deal with that flooding, and it enlarged, the plan enlarged to encompass the entire block of 27 homes. There are 5 homes left, many of them upstream from where the flooding occurred. So we were in court today, and the city had an opportunity to present evidence, like a report, a document, something in writing to show that the taking of these homes was necessary. In response to a direct question from the judge, they said, oh, we've provided it. And our engineer has gone through all of the documents that have been presented over the course of 2 years that we've been asking for it. The city engineer who testified left at the end of 2014. She was project manager. She hadn't seen it before she left. And so here we are with no documentation and 22 homes that have been bulldozed.
No, they went through eminent domains, but there is no trail, paper trail.
No, they're saying that they turned all these documents over, but we've gone through all the documents that they provided us. What they have provided us with is pictures. Pictures is not modeling. It's not the data. It's not the analysis that you do to determine that you need not 4 homes, but 27. You don't get to just decide that you're going to increase the size of the pond without engineering analysis to support that decision.
And for those who don't know where you are, can you tell me where this is located?
Yes, this is the beautiful block in the heart of Peoplestown on Atlanta Avenue, halfway between Hank Aaron and Cherokee, which is where Grant Park Zoo is. I mean, it has access to all of the highways. It's a neighborhood, historically black neighborhood, and now the block that I live on only has 5 homes and some trees.
Is that part of gentrification, did you think, or what?
It's certainly happening in concert with gentrification. I do want to stress that, you know, when cities are making decisions about whether and where to use eminent domain, they tend to use it in poorer, blacker, and browner communities. And that's not just true of Atlanta, that's true all over the nation. I guess in that regard, our communities are more vulnerable because we don't hear about them using eminent domain in Buckhead. There was flooding on, I think it was Brown's golf course in Buckhead. I was at the meeting with the Department of Watershed and all of the concerned citizens from Buckhead, and they're like, what are we going to do? Never was there any mention made of we need to take certain houses to prevent flooding on this golf course. It wouldn't even be a proposal, but they'll do it in what they perceive to be a black or browner or working class neighborhood. and that's wrong.
Now, you made mention of Vine City. What's going on in Vine City?
In Vine City, they have sent letters out to 7 property owners, all of whom happen to be black, that they need the property, they need their property to be part of a 60-acre park that's going to be called Peace Park, directly across the street from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And there's some statements that, oh, there's flooding, but the primary focus, I mean, the flooding that occurred in Vine City is over 10 years ago. The primary purpose is we need this park, and we need it because now we have a nice stadium, and we need a park to go with it. That's not a justification for taking people's property. Not only are you taking their wealth, you're taking their generational wealth. This is property they can't pass on to their children and grandchildren. People's memories and histories are being disappeared. And the character of the city is being changed when you displace people like that. My neighbors, the Dardens, who are also defendants in an eminent domain lawsuit by the city, are in their 60s. One of them, the husband worked for the city for 30 years. Today is his birthday and he had to spend it in court. You don't treat people like that. And that's what City Hall needs to get through its head. You don't treat people like that.
Now, if anybody wanted to get in contact with you to give you support, how do they do that?
They can email me, Tanya, Tanya, Washington, @gmail.com. Oh, sorry, Tanya Washington 1970 @gmail.com.
Thank you. Anything you'd like to say?
Just, I just appreciate all the people who have been calling and supporting and praying and encouraging me and my neighbors. We are able to stand against this Goliath and its predatory ways because we know that the people stand with us, that the communities who are most often victimized by this kind of behavior are standing with us. I very much appreciate from the bottom of my heart their presence and their prayers and encouragement.
Thank you. I think today is your birthday, and you're in court.
Yes, sir.
You worked for the city for over 30 years.
29.
Now, what are they trying to do with your property? They want yours through eminent domain?
Yeah, that's what we have now. Ain't but 2 people on our block. It's my house and Miss Washington's house. Yes, sir.
Now, how long have you been fighting them?
Well, this has been 4-5 years. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts in terms of what the judge said today?
I'm going to trust God. I'm going to still fight. People and judges, not necessarily judges, but people here, but since we're talking about the judge, it really doesn't matter what he said. God got to follow the judge. And that's what we're going to have to trust. Because the system is against us. We wasn't supposed to be there. Now, we're supposed to be in there in black too. We ain't supposed to. God put people in place for us. And Miss Washington being a lawyer, Mr. Greg being a lawyer, they want to help us. They want to see the right thing done in it. Some of the people took the money, I ain't mad with them. We are in one of the best places in that area of the city of Atlanta. I mean, just think about it. Where we live is 5 blocks from Grant Park. 5 blocks from the police department. Access to all the expressways that come through Atlanta. Shopping center, more than shopping centers, about a mile and a half over Moreland Avenue. I mean, what more can you look for in a neighborhood?
How long have you been living in that neighborhood?
29 years, 28 or 29.
All right.
Either 28 or 29. I think it's 29. I think I moved there in 89. Yeah. I think I moved there in 89, I think. But it was, and then my church is right down the street, 5 blocks. I mean, everything we need is.
So it ain't about the money?
I don't need that money. I'm retired. Ain't nothing wrong with money, but I don't need it. Not them.
Okay.
Not for my house.
Okay.
I gave the city 29 years of my life. They gave me a pension with benefits. So What I need is their money. I ain't trying to buy no mansion, no rent.
I heard
I
that.
just want to live comfortable, take care of
Now,
my family.
what are your thoughts today, ma'am?
My thoughts today is that we have come a long way. We still got a long way to go. But the truth will prevail. And that's what we're looking at. The city has not presented the evidence for a parking upon, and I don't think they're going to go back that far and present it like the judge requested today for them to have. And we want to stay in our home. It's not about, moving out. We want to stay in our home because this is where we want to live. This is where God put us. And the city has a hidden agenda. One thing brought back something that happened in 2012. Mayor Cassie Reed came out in a Winnebago to meet with the homeowners that homes were flooded, and it was only 6. My neighbor was a Caucasian lady. She came over and knocked on my door and told me, Miss Darden, you need to come out because the mayor's meeting with the homeowners that houses are flooded. And I came out. While we met with him, we specifically asked him, like I'm standing up looking at you, face to face, will we have to be displaced? Will we have to move out our home? And his response was, no. No one will have to move out of their home. No one would be displaced simply because they was working on a short-term and a long-term plan that was going to stop the flooding in our neighborhood. Now, where is that? Mr. Knowlton all but said that no house needed to be taken because of what the project they was working on. But now these new engineers that the city got, he can't produce any modeling.
Sound like something wrong with that picture.
It is something wrong with the picture. They hiding something, and they have not given our engineers, our lawyers, the modeling to show that they was working on the project that they say they was working on.
Is that why the judge continued the case?
Yes, sir, and asked them to produce it.
On that note, I'll say thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.